video we're going to discuss some more tolerancing options. So with these type of tolerancing, you're going to see that these have a upper and a lower limit. And we also have an isometric on this drawing, and I'll show you how to do that at the last part of this, although it's not required. So I'll save that part for last, and you can stick around and enjoy it with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch on over to AutoCAD. Now anytime you're creating limit tolerancings, you either select the upper or the lower limit. And in this case, I'm going to be using the upper one. So I'll start with a circle, center diameter, select here, and the diameter for this one should be 0.884. Let's go ahead and create our next circle, center diameter, at the center of here. And this one has a diameter of 1.499. Just to make sure that we create our other view in line with this one, I'll start with the line command. Touch this quadrant, I'll track away from it. I'd say the distance is 2. And now I'm able to start creating my lines. Let's make sure we're in ortho mode. The width of this, I'll use the top limit, 0.302. Then I'll go up. If you don't want to guess the height of this one, it's easy enough just to touch this quadrant and come over and get the tracking from it. Do a left click here, track from this end point, come up, left click here, and then you can close. The lines that are running through, the hidden lines, let's go ahead and create a line. In this case, instead of using construction lines, I'll just track from this quadrant to that intersection to where it's perpendiculars. Let's go ahead and use the mirror command to create the top one. Let's go from this midpoint to this midpoint. Okay, so our drawing portion of this is done. Let's go ahead and put in an A-size title block. I'll be using Classic Insert. Let's browse and find our A-size title block. Make sure you leave all of this unchecked. Hit OK. And now my title block should be at 0, 0. I'll zoom out to where I can see it. I'll move my drawing on the inside of my title block. And let's turn ortho off. You can see that this, I have a lot more room around this. So now I'm going to look at the different scale factors to see which one I want to use. This is considered a mechanical drawing. So what we're going to do is that just tells me that I should be using the scales for the mechanical one. Here are my scale factors, and these are the scales that I'm going to use with it. So I'm going to shrink my title block down, and usually we would start at 1 and go numbers higher than this. But in this case, this is going to be our baseline that we're going to set. And then I'm going to use the half, maybe a quarter, and I really doubt that we'll get to using the 1/8. So select your title block, do a right click, and choose Properties. In the Properties window, I'm looking at Scale X, Scale Y, and Scale Z. So I'll start off with 0.5. And that looks like the appropriate size that we're going to need to get this done. So I'm just going to move this into a better position of my drawing. And I'm trying not to move my title block. I'll do that again. So I'm just going to move and select my drawing with a base point. Put it on the inside of here. Now remember that our scale is set to half. So I'm going to select my title block again. Over in the scale, I'm going to put 2 inches equal 1. And I don't have to put the inches symbol on it. I just want to tell everyone that it's 2 to 1, so it's twice as big basically. In the project, let's go ahead and call this one washer. And then you can fill in your name. Okay, so now I'm ready to start putting in my dimensions and my center lines. Let's take care of our center lines first and our line type scale. So LTS, enter. 0.5 will be the value. Next thing I'm going to do is adjust my center. So I will use the center layer command and set the value equal to center. The extension on this one is fine since we're not using metric. So let's go ahead and put our center marks on this one. So I'll choose the annotate, choose center marks, and select the outside circle. Choose center line, select the two inside lines. Let's go ahead and adjust these and make them on the hidden layer. So I'm going to select these two lines and select in the drop down and put them on the hidden layer. Now I want this to show up with my dash in between this, so go ahead and just select your center line only. Go into your properties, look for line type scale, and I'll set it equal to 0.5. Okay, so now it's ready to start dimensioning. Let's go ahead and set our dimensions to make sure they come on the right layer by selecting this drop down. Next, let's go ahead and adjust our dimension style. Modify. I'll start with the symbols and arrows tab. Set this to none. On my text, I can adjust this to a height of 0.125. These dimensions are horizontal. I'll adjust the fit to match my title block, which is 0.5. And in the primary units, we want 3 decimal places. And then in this case, all of our dimensions, they do have tolerancing. So I will select in the tolerancing block. Then I'm going to tell them that I want all of them to be set to a limit. Here's the upper and lower value, and most of them look like they're set to 0.4. So I want the lower value at 0.004. Let's go ahead and select OK. And then close. Let's go ahead and select the diameter dimension. And put that dimension on. Let's do the next one for the outside. And then let's add a linear dimension. Okay, so this one is correct and this one is correct. This one has to be adjusted to 0.2. So go ahead and select that dimension. Scroll down in your properties window. See where it says 0.004? I'm going to change that to 0.002. I'll hit the escape button twice just to clear the command. Let's go ahead and add our text at the top. Use multi-line text. Click a start point here. Then I'm going to go ahead and create my window. You can see that this text is justified at middle center, so when I click that first point, you can see I'm kind of giving a preview of it. I'll go down to my command line and choose justify. Choose middle center. And now I'll place my other into my rectangle. I have to adjust the text height. And depending on what you want it to be, you can multiply. So using my calculator, I want the text height to be 0.1875 in this case. And I'll multiply it times the scale factor of the drawing, which is 0.5. This is now my new text height, so I'll enter it in AutoCAD and make sure that I'm coming up with the 0.09375. So here is where I'm going to change that to 0.09375. And now I'm able to start typing. So I'll type out the first one, title, next line, material, and then the last line is inch. Go ahead and close it. Okay, so this is all you're going to need for this drawing to complete it. I'll go ahead and create the isometric now. Let's go ahead and switch over to ISO drafting. And then I want to be sitting in isometric left. I'll type in EL, the first two letters for ellipse, ISO circle, click here, make sure you select diameter, and put it at 1.499. Create another ellipse with EL, choose ISO circle, place it at this center, choose the word diameter, and type in 0.884. Switch back to the Home tab and use Copy. Select these two circles, or ISO circles, enter, pick a base point, and you have to switch either to isometric top or right. I'll choose isometric top. Turn your ortho on. Make sure that you're aiming at this direction, and type in the thickness, which is 0.302. Escape. Let's draw a line from this quadrant to this quadrant, and then one from the bottom quadrant to the other. Let's use the trim command, and now I'm going to start with this back circle. Starting at this point, I'm going to trim this all the way around until it gets to the bottom of here. Next, I'm going to trim this circle starting here and trim it around until it stops at that location. I'm going to scale this down 0.5, so I'll use scale, select my objects, base point is here, 0.5. Then I will move this to the inside of my drawing. So move these objects, and you have to turn off the ortho to get this to go freely where you want. I'll click here, and there you have it for this drawing. Okay, so all of my dimensions had some kind of tolerancing on them, so that's why it's easier to select it and set it up in your dimension style. But if I didn't have all of them set up to the same way, I would have adjusted them in the properties window. I'll switch out of isometric drafting. I hope you enjoyed completing this one with me, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.